It wasn't long before we arrived at a huge, towering building marked with a giant sign that read Hollywood Heights Hotel. Marcus pulled me out of the car and into the hotel luxurious lobby, his boots clacking on the polished marbled floor. When we came to a stop in front of the private room, but instead of knocking, Marcus simply barged right in. Ooh, this is pretty. Good evening, Sarah Rosie? Oh my god, I'm gonna have trouble with these names. Good evening, Sarah Rise. I brought Lyla. Whoa, who is this? Excuse me, can we date her? Welcome back, Marcus. An elegant woman stood up from her chair to greet us, her eyes flicking from Marcus to me. I've been expecting you. What? Marcus, there's been a mistake. This individual is not supposed to be bidden. She spoke in a very slow, dangerous fashion of someone barely controlling their rage. At least that rage seemed to be directed at Marcus, not me. Is that so? Marcus shrugged, looking about as bothered as if he'd forgotten to get milk from the grocery store. But our sister here was only the pretty young dead thing that walked into the abattoir. Your lucky candidate must have missed their appointment. Mr. The woman steepled her fingers to her upper lip, and from the murderous way she stared at the ground, it was a wonder she didn't burn a hole through it. Just one headache after another. So I'm assuming she's like the boss, right? Finally, with a deep smile, she turned and focused back to me. I had a distinct feeling her calculating eyes were scrutinizing me, doing some kind of rapid cost-benefit analysis. Well, let me start by saying my name is Sarah Rise? Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say all these names wrong. Sarah Rise Locke. I apologize for all this happening to you. As you might have guessed, another mortal was supposed to be receiving the bite tonight, not you. It seems there was a misunderstanding. You know, I'm still not convinced this is real, then, is there no way to turn me back? What the hell? You just ruined my entire life! There's no need for rudeness. As I believe I just said, there was a misunderstanding. You just killed me! What do you mean not to be rude? What the heck? A rogue vampire apparently decided to play a cruel little joke on you. One with decidedly unfunny results. I'm rather short on time here, so I won't mince words. You can lament over your loss of humanity for the next century, or you can help accept the hand you've been dealt and move on. Sarah Rise breezed through along without trying to hide her impatience or annoyance. Like I was inconveniencing her somehow. Couldn't believe it. She was going to chalk up this to a misunderstanding? You were an accident, but I'm offering you a purpose. As cruel as it may sound, this turn of fate isn't necessarily a bad one for you. It is a chance for all you could have ever wanted in life, and maybe even more, if you're strong enough to survive. My proposal is a straightforward one. Will you join the Los Angeles Coven of Vampires, my coven? I don't have much of a choice, do I? Not particularly, no. I'm pleased that you realize that this, at the very least, so we can proceed past formalities. The briefest of smiles flashed over her lips, like a sublime message flickering on a TV screen. Very well, let me establish the main 3 rules of the coven. 1. When you feed, do not kill. Not innocents at least. Aggressive fools you can deal with as you see fit. 2. Never reveal your true nature to a mortal. By doing so, you endanger not only yourself, but our entire kind. As a result, you'll be disposed of. Great. So it's kind of like Bishop, you're not supposed to talk to the humans. Remember, Orsi's like, if he finds out, he'll take the human or kill the vampire. And finally, do not turn any mortals into a vampire without my permission, my explicit permission. It's necessary to keep our population to a minimum, as otherwise the area could quickly become overcrowded. Do you understand all of this? Crystal clear, I get the point, yep. Good. See that you don't forget these rules. With a quiet sniff, Sarah Rise motions towards the chair beside Marcus, who had languidly stretched out on the seat while we were talking. As I settled down into the offered chair, Marcus flashed me a sidelong smirk. It seemed he found all of this particularly amusing. Sarah Rise snapped her fingers to get my attention. My state of shock wasn't high on her list of priorities, apparently. Now, Lyla, you've arrived during the most difficult time. It just so happens that we're in the middle of a war. A bloody mess war waged in dark internally unbeknownst to mortals. As she began her brisk business agenda, Sarah Rise elegantly lowered herself onto the couch opposite to me. The 3 houses, the one all vampires belong to, Isakari, Mavar, and Golgotha, are fighting over the rule of Los Angeles. To put it crudely, Isakari are the most diplomatic. Mavar are fighters, and Golgotha are everything else. If only everything were that simple. Crossing her legs, Sarah Rise let out a faint sigh, one hand flipping to push her glasses. the current ruling house of Isakari, which you and I both belong to. I've ruled LA for the past 10 years, but recently the other houses have gotten a little, how shall I put it, rowdy. We need to negotiate some of a three-way peace to restore order, but that is easier said than done. There are simply too many secret deals, betrayals, and assassinations going on behind the scenes. However, you are new enough to be politically naive and unbiased. She paused, that critical light glinting in her eyes again. Unlike most of the other vampires in LA, you have neither an existing reputation nor alliance, and thus you may be the key to our reconciliation. I'm listening. Go on. I don't know if I like where this is going. So you want to use me as your political puppet? I'll just say I don't like where this is going because you're going to use me. Sarai merely gave me a blunt look, my hesitance apparently falling on deaf ears. The first task I intend to give you is a simple one, but it will serve as an accurate measure of potential. There is a meeting going on tomorrow night between Randall, the most powerful leader of the Mavara rebels, and the Goliath emissaries. I want you to sneak into the meeting and disrupt it. How can I disrupt it? Seems easy enough. Uh-oh, that sounds like a horrible idea. How do you want me to do that? That would be the easy part. You should be more worried about getting past the guard. Whatever tools you have at your disposal, I suggest you use them. Quick thinking and improvisation are the key to seeing another sunset. Tomorrow night, Marcus will call you an hour before the meeting. He should have all the details you'll need. Make sure that no treaty is made between Mavar and Goliath. It's the first step towards forcing Randall onto our side. He's too vulnerable as a potential ally. Consider this your trial. It is an opportunity to transcend your circumstances and prove that fate chose you for a reason. With an air of finality, Sarai rose and stepped briskly past me, striding over the door. Marcus shuffled aside, eyeing her with an arched eyebrow. I've already arranged a room for you here, at the Hollywood Heights Hotel. It's managed by some of our people, so you'll be perfectly safe. The next time we speak, I'll be looking for the tale of your success. The door slammed shut behind her, and the swift clacking of high heels slowly faded into the distance. I turned to Marcus, unsure of how to exactly process everything Sarah Rice had just said to me. Well, it seems the stars smile on you, sister. He let out a delicate chuckle, winking at me behind those dark lenses. Sarah Rice doesn't like to make mistakes. You must have caught her in a good mood tonight. Tell me, what do you think of her, the Red Queen? Powerful, confident, I like her. Honestly, I'm not too sure it's too early to tell. Met convicted felons who seem more trustworthy. Honestly, I mean, yeah, she's very powerful, very confident, but I'm not entirely sure of her character. Because, like, yeah, I get she wants, like, peace, but, you know, she could be lying to us to be like, let me keep in power. I don't give a shit. So I'll just say it's too early. Someone who's reserved judgment. My god, you're a mythical beast twice over. Marcus paused, glancing down at the old-fashioned pocket watch in his palm. The fact that he owned one didn't surprise me at the very least somehow. I mean, how old is he? A century old, so that's not very surprising. I'll be calling your room around midnight tomorrow. I'd be ready if I were you. Now, it's about time for me to head out, but before I go, I have one last thing I have to say to you, and I don't intend to say it twice. His expression suddenly grew dark. He stared at me intently as to confirm if I was listening. Do not trust anyone. Do not. Especially not the ones who ask you to trust them. You hear me, sister? Like you? I don't know. You mean I can't trust you either? Don't be ridiculous. Everyone has some trust. Thanks, Marcus, I won't. You mean you too? And why would I be any different? Just because you might like my face or the way I've been treating you doesn't mean that I'm a part of your destiny. Snickering softly, he shoved a hand into his pocket, rummaging around something. Where is that damn... Ah, here it is. If you ever want to paint your fingers together, or whatever it is you Isakari folk do for pleasure, this is where you'll find me. He reached for my hand, pressing a small object into my palm. What is it? My eyes flicked down to see a business card, colored in bright red and embezzlements with bold black letters. Blood and Roses, a dark paradise for adult movies, magazines, and toys. Do you work at a sex shop? Was I misinterpreting this card, or did Marcus work at a sex shop? But by the time I glanced up again, he was already gone. I haven't even heard the door open or shut. How the hell did he leave the room so suddenly? I think he teleported out the window or something. Maybe it was for the best that he didn't know? Leaving the empty room behind, I awkwardly stepped up to the front desk, asking about the Sarah Rice's reservation. A stoic, pale-faced clerk handed me the key without question. Room 914. Numbly, I made my way into the elevator and up to my floor, where a posh corridor opened up to greet me. The room numbers felt like they passed by in blurry masquerade. 908, 910, 912, 914. My new home. Nice room! Check out that bed, dude! Sparkling clean, warmly lit, beautifully decorated. It was the kind of glamorous room I'd always dreamed of staying in. The kind of room where you see the stars partying, orgies, and overdoses, ringing up their agent, shutting the curtains to hide from the camera flashes, straight out of a magazine. And now, it was my coffin. Up close, I realized the room was just as dead as me. The cameras were the only thing that had made it seem alive. That other thought was the most awful one I had that night. As I stared off into the stock painting on the wall, trying to figure out what emotions I was feeling, something stirred in my gut. A dull, aching hunger. It didn't feel like the hunger pangs I felt before. It was in my mind as much as in my body. Like an addict who needed their fix. We need blood. Was it a hunger for that? As much as I didn't want to even think about the possibilities, the idea uncomfortably warmed in my head. Go look in the fridge, ignore it. No, let's look in the fridge, maybe. She left some blood in there for me. Maybe regular food would tide me over, or just some water. I knew that was bullshit, but of course I pretended not to. I slunk over into the mini fridge, unsure of what I hoped to find. Pulling the tiny door open, I bent down to peer inside. But instead of discovering any water, food, or ice, I saw something completely different. Hey, she left some blood for us! Thank you! 3 packs of blood, neatly sealed in translucent bags, like a morbid juice boxes. I snatched one up without thinking. The sketchy bag looked better than the 1,000 glistening T-bone steaks. Moving on impulse, I stank my fangs into the plastic, drowning the cold liquid in giant gulps. The second it slid down my throat, I instantly felt revitalized. The pain vanished, and my body hummed with, well, not life, but something close to it. To my shock, I wasn't even disgusted by what I was doing. It was just natural, and the taste was so addictive. But in the back of my mind, I knew I had lost some part of myself at that moment forever. So I drank until the bag was empty and it was over. Oh, okay. A knock on the door interrupted my dinner. I threw the empty bag into the fridge and quickly wiped up the blood off my bloody lips and reached for the door. There was no way I could handle Sarah Rise or Marcus again, not right now, so I silently prayed for it to be anyone else but them. Oh! Hi! This is Heath, right? Good evening. A gentle, melodic voice purred from the man before me. I'd never seen his face before, but his too pale skin and flashing fangs immediately gave it away what he was. You're Lyla, aren't you? Please, tell me I'm right. I don't want you to be anyone else. Don't remember calling room service for dessert. For dessert? Is that be me? What do you want? Not interested in solicitors. Yeah, it's me. You. Smooth. I'm closing the door now. Excuse me? You heard me. I want to talk to you just for a little while. Promise it won't steal too much of your time. I guess if it's only a little while. Thank you. He slipped inside the room, glancing around curiously for a few moments. A faint floral scent drifted around him, just barely strong enough to be noticed. I didn't mean to catch you off guard, but I stopped by on, well, impulse. And really, I'm so happy that I did. Averting his gaze for a moment, he toyed with the fringe of his scarf, letting out a soft exhale. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Heath. Would you say for me? I'd like to hear from your lips. Okay, Heath, why are you being a little bit creepy? Heath, it suits you. You might have to convince me first. Sure. Does it? I picked it because it sounded warm, like the sun we can't see any longer. One of the things I miss the most. But enough about me. More importantly, I passed Sarah Rise on the way, and she told me about what happened to you. It's awful, and I'd say I'm sorry, but apologies won't get your life back. So I want to offer you a sympathetic ear, or a shoulder to cry on, if you need it. He spoke quietly, gravely, as if we were attending a funeral for Lyla who had died back at that club. It wasn't so long ago that I went through the same thing you did. It's cold, it's cruel, and it's impossible to believe at first. But when it hits you, the loneliness is overwhelming. Wish I could go back. I'm not going to mope about what's done is done. What's so cruel about it? We might have gotten powers of immortality, right? No, I mean, we can't mope about it now, right? It's done. It happened. It sucks. That's a strong attitude. I'm a little jealous. I just hope you can keep your strength after the weight of everything really hits you. He lets out a quiet sigh, running a hand through his feathery hair. It was a little surprising how much my situation seemed to upset him, considering the apathy everybody else has shown so far. So, Sarah Rise mentioned your house too. Houses, well, they're supposed to be the core of who we are in this hidden world. What defines us, what separates us, what sets us apart. Our gazes met for a few moments in silence. He kept his head slightly lowered, maybe so that his eyes could glitter up for me from behind their thick lashes. You know, for the moment I laid eyes on you, I could tell that you were an Isakari. Your beauty and poise, the emotion and feeling in your voice, everything about you is vibrant, like you never left the world of the living. It's so hard to look away. Are you flirting with me, sir? Who said you had to? Don't stare at the sun or you'll just hurt yourself. That's such an asshole thing to say. I thought I should pretend to be a gentleman at least, but if you're enjoying a more intense approach, then I'll keep that in mind. Whoa! He just switched all of a sudden! Keith watched me intently for a few moments, heavily lit his eyes sparkling, before tearing his gaze over to the window. I glanced past him at the glittering cityscape, only to meet his stare again in the glass reflection. His expression had quickly sobered. The way his moods seemed to shift so quickly caught me off guard. It was like they flicked on and off in a whim. You know, a few years ago, you would have had a group of Isakari to welcome you onto the unlife. But now, well, with the war going on, everyone seems more interested in protecting themselves than helping each other, even their own house members. I can't stand it. Isn't there a way to make peace? You're pretty empathetic for a vampire. It seems like a justified war. It means getting a... Nah, I'm gonna say, isn't there a way to help? Heath shook his head, tracing his thumb along the cross of his neck. No, not while the Mavar, the Goliath, refused to enter treaty with us, the Isakari, that is. Until then, we're trapped in this endless cycle of bloodshed. I don't know who's more in danger, to us, the hunters, or ourselves. Vampire hunters? Yes, there aren't many of them, but they're always a lurking threat. Heath bit his lip, a troubled frown flinting across his own face for a few moments. But listen to me, Lyla, please. More than anything else, I want you to remember, if you don't want to be alone, you don't have to be. I run a bar downtown, nothing much, just a little nook for stars, and a sanctuary for people like us. It's called, Saturnalia? Saturnalia? I think that's how you say it. It's called Saturnalia. Won't you come by sometime? I don't mean to sound too forward, but... The warm lamplight reflected in his eyes as they flicked up towards mine. His gaze was so longing, so hopeful, that I had to wonder what I had done to deserve it. There's something different about you, something more than a little captivating. I'd like to learn more, if you let me. He's kind of sweet! The only troubling thing is, like, he can switch his personality immediately. So, like, I got the vibe that Marcus is kind of like the arrogant asshole. He's a sweetheart, but he can switch his personality. So what does that leave the last guy? I'm gonna find out, I guess. Love to come by, Heath. Maybe I'll make even a surprise visit. I'll think about it. No need to save me a seat. You know what? I'll come by, sure. He immediately lit up at that. Like, I just offered him his favorite thing in the world. You know just what to say to make me impatient. I'm gonna go crazy waiting for you, so don't be too cruel, please. Until then, if you ever need me, you know where I am. With a gentle bow of his head, he gave me one last long look. The sun is coming up soon, which means it's time for me to tear myself away, but I'll remember to say a prayer for your success tomorrow. Though honestly, I doubt you really need it. Sweet dreams, Lyla. I hope you show up to them too, Keith. Good night. After tonight, I doubt I'll see you in the round. Whatever, bye. No, it'll be nice. With that, Heath quietly made his way to the exit, slipping outside. Once the door clicked and shut behind him, I was alone again, in a golden solitary confinement. Like Heath said, the sun would rise soon, meaning I need to tightly shut the curtains and curl up until tomorrow night. In a way, I didn't want to. Shutting the curtains would mean surrendering to the reality of this was an awesome fucked up nightmare. But I wasn't sure how much longer I could deny the reality. With the coming sunrise safely hidden away, I turned off the bedroom lights. As I started the LED glow of the alarm clock, letting my transformed body sink towards something resembling a sleep, one last thought drifted through my head. Felt incredibly lonely, felt determined, felt excited. Honestly, I feel lonely because it's now like you're shoved into this new life and you're like, I didn't want this, so... The sense of isolation that Heath mentioned was creeping up on me. Was I really cut off from my family and friends forever? I could only cling to the hope that, just maybe, I'd wake up tomorrow in my own bed and forget that any of this stuff had ever happened. With that feeling still settled in my chest, I closed my eyes. Finally, a comforting nothingness pulled me back down into the dark, and away from the coming day.
Go back to your own country.
Wow! You're gonna pull that racist shit on me?
Get inside now. Sean! You're dead meat, bitch.
A lot of them don't get any credit they deserve, so today I'll be talking about 5 awesome video game sidekicks. Number 5. Dexter. Jak and Daxter series. Dexter, the